the time and president-elect, and I had been a vice president of this president who is asking me now. I should start by him telling me what he left there. Anyway, yes, I will say, looking at ALTA post-pandemic, if it is post-pandemic at all, we pulled through a time that was not very easy, a transition time for ALTA. There is transition everywhere, given what has been happening to the globe. But we pushed through that. We were able to have our very first virtual conference in 2020 actually, and then last year. That alone, and pulling people from across the globe, began to show us that nothing is impossible. Somebody who was here talking to us in Dabezita from California was talking about also pushing and never giving up. We pushed through not very easy times. We termed it a time of recalibration of ALTA, and we have been in that space. I don't want to talk into what have we done about that, because I will take everything from the president. She has to say that. But I can tell you, we got into space at a time of transition, and we worked through what she will tell you.
Thank you very much. That's wisdom. We now want to turn to our directors who actually oversee national resource centers. People may not know what that means. People may not know what your role is. So yours is specifically for language. Can you please tell us what your mission is and what you have been able to do or what you plan to do? Thank you.
All right, so the center that I'm directing is Language Resource Center, funded by the U.S. Department of Education. We have it as a National African Language Resource Center, that's NARIC. I just took the position of directing the center because the former director has retired. So the mission of the center is to provide best practices in language teaching and learning, focusing on African languages across the nation, not just from IU where the center is, but across the nation. That's why it's called National African Language Resource Center, but also internationally. Sometimes we had participants from outside the US. So promoting best practices in language teaching and learning by providing workshops. We have Summer Institute, a two-week institute that is done. It has been done at the University of Wisconsin before, and now at Indiana University, face-to-face, but in the past 2 years, it has been online. But it has provided a lot of resources for teachers, new teachers, continuing teachers to learn, to develop in this institute for best practices. And also not only language teaching and learning, but also assessment. So, but we have also developed textbooks in the past. And what we're gonna do now, our mission is to review these textbooks and provide also online digital materials to go with the textbook. So we'll be reaching out to all of you, Kiswahili teachers and African language instructors, to help us in reviewing the textbooks and also providing online resources that can supplement the textbooks. But we also have other plans, like doing a research workshop. And the research workshop is to help, because sometimes we are overwhelmed with teaching, we don't have time to do research. So we want to start a research workshop, a 1-week research workshop, face-to-face. We'll come and share ideas and get information on how to conduct language pedagogy research, and also help you with publications. And then maybe I can follow up with other questions that you have. But that's our main mission, is to provide professional development.
Thank you for that, because I was going to ask you about the digital world. We're moving, especially after the COVID period. A lot of materials are now available online. What priority are you giving to such types of materials compared to the print type of materials. And we also have what we call open source. How is your center moving towards that kind of provision to our students and scholars?
So that's what we are working on now. That's our project, to add the online component for the textbooks. There'll be we will have the online component with the textbook. It will be people can get it as a hard copy, but also as a digital copy. So we're working on that, and also for the professional development, we're also going to all these materials that we do face to face, the content. We're going to have it digital, like produce online modules, digitize them, have them accessible to people, and maybe in the third year of our grant, we will have it online the first week, and the second week as a practicum. So there will be online modules for these professional development for people to access the whole year, for example. It doesn't have to be 1 week. People can access it throughout, and we will work it with open source to do that. And also we will have maybe examples from people like people who have experience in teaching, to develop a video of maybe talking about their experience in teaching, and how maybe there are different ways of best practices to share with others. So we can have mini video series to help other people.
I think that's I like what you're saying, because it's so critical. As we look at our world today, African languages really don't have enough, but we don't want to continue this same story. We have to find solutions. And when you look at languages like Romance, they have both assessments and digital material. Our market is small, so your role is critical. So we hope that you'll actually do something to help us.
We're studying online courses. Actually, we have, for example, we teach face-to-face elementary Kiswahili, or elementary Yoruba, elementary Zulu, but we have started, and we will continue developing online sources equivalent maybe of the first semester and equivalent of second semester that will have immediate feedback, assessment and quizzes with immediate feedback. And we want maybe by the end of the 4th year cycle of this grant, we will have developed online courses for people to take, not only at IU, but across the nation.
Excellent. That was about languages. And the next thing I might ask you, how many languages are taught in the US of African origin? I'll give you a minute to think about that. But now I have to turn on to my director here, Howard. Tell us, you are in area studies. What role are you playing to really, you are in both language as well as area studies? What do your centers do? Centers such as yours. This is the Language Resource Center, but yours deals also with area studies. What do you do?
Thank you very much. So yes, the Center for African Studies at Howard is called a Comprehensive National Resource Center. So as I said before, we're a Title VI Department of Education funded center, but we actually technically received 2 grants from them. So one is the Foreign Language and Area Studies fellowships that everyone is familiar with, that supports the African language training, and then we have the NRC grant, which is actually to promote African studies, not just on Howard's campus or in the DMV area, but to serve as a national resource for African studies. And so some of the programming that we do doesn't directly pertain to African languages. We have an entire staff that works specifically on outreach in K through 12 schools. But in fact, so a number of the things that they do, one of the programs that you might have heard of is the Children's Africana Book Awards. So we promote literature and not just educational materials, but literature and other media, from usually either from African or written by or produced by African authors and texts either on the continent or over here in the diaspora, and promote those widely here in the United States. So that's one of our programs, which is I think, well received here and well known here in the United States. Similar to your center, we also provide institutes for teachers, so kind of teacher training institutes, where every summer we produce materials or develop a curricula around a particular theme, usually connected to the core themes that are taught in K through 12 schools. So the curriculum that is typically taught in K through 12 schools. So for example, one of our recent projects was to establish, we have a website called the Gold Road Map, which in essence is kind of an interactive educational online tool that teachers can use to teach about West African history, but in a deeper sense, to be able to appreciate and understand the connections between various West African regions and peoples, but then also those connections to Asia and Europe and other parts of the world as well. So it's a way in which we've not only kind of provide information for teachers, but also help them develop curricula and then lesson plans, et cetera, to bring into the classroom. One of the other things that we're looking to do, which is very much more student facing, is we are launching a new student newsletter, or I guess kind of a newsletter, almost like the National Geographic that they typically, for those of you who have been over in our educational system, you'll be familiar with National Geographic, but a newsletter that we can put into the hands of American students to give them sometimes timely, but certainly, kind of engaging pieces on Africa, so that they develop an interest in knowing what's going on in Africa, but they also end up having some understanding and appreciation of the issues that are confronting the continent. So that's on the kind of non-African languages side. And then we do a lot. I mean, so my role really is as a facilitator. Mwalimu here is being a little bit, bashful, because I facilitate what he wants to do. That's much of my role here. But I would say, do you want me to highlight some of the things that we're looking to do, or is that a second question? Okay, so to do that though, I just wanted to highlight again, I think I know the unique role that Howard is able to play in this regard. As I mentioned before, we are, in terms of our funding, we're the largest national resource center. And in terms of our student population, in terms of the numbers of students who are studying African languages. So we have, in any given year, 800 Howard students studying African languages. I mean, if you, there were students here before from Princeton and Columbia and Georgetown and all the rest of that, which is wonderful. But those classes, and they sometimes offer more languages than we do, but those classes tend to be small. You might have 1 or 2 students, and I see nodding and all the rest of that. We have classes of 20, 30 students. And what is significant about that is that really, I think, transforms the kinds of, the classroom climate and the kinds of pedagogy that we can do with our students, and that we can do with languages like Swahili that other places just simply cannot do. So I think that, we're positioning ourselves to really take advantage of that. We're looking to, one of the other things I was going to just highlight is also the diversity of our majors. So you might be surprised to hear that actually biology tends to be our largest major of the students who are taking African languages. And we have high representation from psychology, political science, and communications, media, journalism, and film. So we also have a diversity of majors and fields and interests among the students who are studying African languages here at Howard. So again, that gives us a really, I think, unique opportunity to not only promote African languages, but to also make them very relevant to the professions and the careers that students are interested in going into. So at Howard, and again, this is not me, I'm the facilitator. At Howard, we're looking to establish programming that's more targeted towards the professional fields. So like Swahili for business, or Swahili for public health, Zulu for communications, right? And really, I think, have an opportunity to do some really some programming that I think would much more anchor Swahili, not just as kind of like a niche, or any African language, but certainly Swahili, not just as kind of like a niche, area of study, or something that kind of might connect you to your roots, but something that actually can be utilized in your professional fields. And Howard is uniquely positioned to do that. I want to just make this one last plug. I'm sorry, to make sure I get in all of my points, or at least some of my points. One of the areas that I'm really keen to promote and support as well is African language training at other HBCUs. And I encourage you all to kind of support that as well, and really think about the ways in which we can strategically position other HBCUs to become Title VI centers as well. So of all the Title VI centers that exist in the United States, Howard is the only one that is based at an HBCU. Okay, so that's problematic just on its face. But as I just showed you, Howard can do things that none of these other centers for African studies can do. So it's really important, and I see it as really my mandate and my mission to make sure that not just Howard is benefiting from these programs and from our Title VI funding, but to really expand that, not just in terms of one-off programming or kind of, minor programming, but to strategically position other HBCUs to be able to go for these sources of funding and to be able to then start their own Title VI funding. If we're talking about promoting Swahili and other African languages in the United States, I think HBCUs are, a real resource and a real way in which you would increase your numbers exponentially, as opposed to, kind of, I hate to say it, but investing in the Georgetowns and the Princetons and the Columbias. I'll stop there.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I'm glad you said all of those, and I know that you have a powerful and very effective outreach program that does a lot of programming. 2 summers ago, really, you focused on the Swahili land, and a lot of data and a lot of conversations were around Mombasa, Lamu, and all that. So this is wonderful. So thank you so much. But this is now a point that I want you both, the 2 directors, to tell us, and then of course our regional leaders as well as national leaders in terms of African associations, language association, to tell us, when do you connect? When do you meet? How do you work? And what are your visions about these collaborations? Because they're key to where we're headed and to what we want to achieve.
So I will say as well, I'm in my I'm in my 3rd year, I guess, as director of the center. So I haven't been around as long as others have, but I have to say that I have been really pleased and surprised, but very pleased with the collaboration and the coordination among the National Resource Centers. So I think, again, we do not see ourselves in competition with one another. So even though, of course, I'm here to promote and tout Howard, but we're not in a competitive, kind of situation vis-a-vis the other centers. So they certainly draw on our strengths, and we can certainly draw on their strengths. Not to say, and that's not, obviously they have strengths. Their strengths are not the numbers of their students that we have, but they have their other strengths as well. So there's a number of ways in which we coordinate. I mentioned the Gold Road Map initiative and program that we have. That's actually a collaborative project that we did with BU. And their Center for African Studies. We have programming with Michigan State. I don't know if we have anything with Indiana at the moment, but always open to those. I think it's only enriches really what we do. And our outreach is in many ways tends to kind of spearhead a lot of those initiatives for us. But even here in the Washington, D.C. area, of course, Howard is part of a consortium. We work closely just this week. In fact, we hosted an event with Georgetown University, their African Studies program, and then other have collaborations with George Washington and other programs as well. The one thing that we haven't been as successful at, interestingly, and we've talked about this, is we are part of a consortium, but and we attract some students to our African languages from Georgetown, AU, and others. But yeah, I think that would really kind of need to think maybe more strategically about how we can promote those and then maybe really create a larger pipeline.
I will give a
I'm sorry to say something. Oh, go ahead.
A little bit about collaboration. Actually, we do have collaboration with Howard in terms of, for the NARIC, for our summer institutes. We have Dr. Esther Lisanza working with at the Summer Institute every summer online or when it was face-to-face, and hopefully she'll be able to come this coming summer for the Summer Institute. So NARIC and Howard, we have been collaborating on that. And also all Kiswahili instructors actually in developing materials, Swahili like textbooks, and we will be reaching out to everyone to help us with the review of the textbook and also the other languages. So the collaboration has been there.
But you go ahead and say something.
Okay, before I come to the regional organization that I represent, I do want to chip in, even though you read my mind as I was whispering to him, that yes, we do have collaboration. We have had it for a number of years now as NRCs with you. Our Swahili Mwalimu Judith Mari, who is on leave right now, has been in collaboration with Mwalimu Leonard. So have I. Let alone that what is that thing? COVID stopped us. We were already ready to go to Tanzania, right? You were going to Tanzania to work on videos and stuff so that we would collaborate in doing this. Even when we host conferences on Nepal, one time you did, and we surely would be sharing from our resources as a Title VI Center with you to make it work. The same thing with when we host Nepal. I say Nepal and it wants me to talk about Nepal. Should I go ahead? Okay. I'm sitting here more for Nepal than for Alta because there is the current president for Alta. That's why I pushed that question to that side. That's what I'm coming to. Thank you. What is Nepal? Northeast Regional Consortium of Programs in African Languages. For there to be an effective and efficient Alta, there has to be robust regional associations. We know that there is self at the what is self in full? I know it's Southeast
Language and Literatures Forum.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Nepal there. So we are the two wings that feed into Alta and feed from Alta. I'll quickly just share a few things that I wrote so that I don't forget things. I will start by saying we have an upcoming mini conference or meeting and workshop that will be co-hosted by Boston University and Harvard University November 4th and 5th. And there, obviously, Kiswahili is one of the popular. We're all popular, small and big, but Swahili is usually the one with larger numbers, and we are happy about that. So I just wanted to mention that so that if you're saying, I have stuff I wish I could share with people, come to Nepal. You don't have to be in the Northeast region for you to come and share something that we have. We met our brothers like Professor Lubua here, Filippo, and my brother to the left before they were physically in here. I remember you came from North Carolina to come to PU, and then you were having a two-way connection with Howard. You came to PU when we had Nepal, and that created a connection, a forever connection, I think. Is the case with Filippo there is out there in Pittsburgh. He's not even in the closest region, but he does work with us. We have had him share stuff on what he knows. Actually, I can share a few of the active members. By active, I mean those I've worked with since I came to PU in 2007 till today. You can count for yourself how many years that has been. I know that Howard now, since you came, has been very active. Pittsburgh, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, Boston University, and Wellesley. And if I'm forgetting one, my president is here to say you forgot that one. Some of these have been NRCs, like Howard has been For now, I know two that still are. That's Howard and Boston University. We both have Title VI, we both have FLAS, and you have already explained that what that means, so I will not delve into that anymore. The major thing is to say it promotes the teaching of African languages and the involvement of these in area studies. If they say they are doing history and it involves Africa, they are doing political science, it involves Africa, and African language has to be part of that. I can't say we have 100% succeeded in convincing those who are at the power table of the area studies, but we are still pushing to make it happen. At Nepal, we engage in various things, encouraging and equipping each other with the different skills that we have. I know that for a number of years now, hopefully soon to finish, we have been working on a project on medical materials. You said something about not just teaching for the sake of teaching the language. We are producing things there online, and hopefully we will end up with a text on that. And the languages that have been working mostly at this point have been Kiswahili, that we're here about, Yoruba, Wolof, and isiZulu. And those are supposed to be somewhat of a template so that other languages can jump in. I remember in one of our workshops, there was Amharic, and this instructor who has gone back to Ethiopia now, engaged so much and ended up publishing before we have even published. So we have a medical materials a workbook that is out there that we at BU helped him publish because he wanted something real fast for his language. So she said, and I agree, we don't only promote a particular language, we promote all of them, and Kiswahili is one of them, of course. I will say we need new ideas so we can grow at the regional level, so that we can strengthen our national mother body, ALTA. Chaukidu, which we're here for, has a footprint in all of this in one way or another. Wawalimu that are here, we see one another a lot at ALTA. We have seen you from the very time of inception of Chaukidu. Even when you produced your journal, we were there, and so we are excited to be part of what you are doing. Keep coming, come to our space. ALTA is going to be here. Oh, shut up about ALTA.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. Very good. It is your turn.
Yeah, on the Nepal side, I just wanted to add that we did have a new language join us, Twi. So Hannah is working on Twi from Princeton. And about ALTA, yes, like Madam IPP said, well, ALTA is Chaukidu's mother. We saw Chaukidu be born in ALTA. Members of ALTA, leaders of ALTA, are the ones who put Chaukidu together. ALTA is also a host to other language-specific groups. So we have AATY within us, which is the association, the Yoruba Teachers Association. We do have the Nguni group, which my sister is a member of, Azoli here. So basically, yes, we are the umbrella under which specific language groups can find structure to form themselves and talk to each other and work together. And the last thing I'm going to say about ALTA is our journal, the publication JALTA, and maybe Mwalimu Waka will say a little more about it because he is currently our editor. But ALTA does produce a journal called JALTA. And speaking about technology, I think JALTA is going to move on online. It used to be a print journal. But yeah, so I think that's it.
Very good. That's the president of ALTA. We're moving close to the very end, but I wanted to mention something that she just mentioned about the JALTA. JALTA is a Journal of African Languages and Teachers Association. What it does is it doesn't produce or publish proceedings, but it tries to publish papers that have been reviewed. because of COVID and other reasons, and because of what was going on, as she said, in terms of transition, there haven't been many issues. Actually, I would say none, but at least we can say we are looking forward to having one published very soon. The material or the articles that were written and submitted are now with the National African Language Resource Center, and very soon, in collaboration with IU Press, those are going to be online. So again, this is what NARIC is doing to help ALTA associations so that they can actually show what they can do, because we need data and materials for African languages in all the languages. So I think that's so key for us. And because of, again, COVID, we are going to have a special issue, maybe an issue that really looks at all of this, all the transformation that have taken place. Those are going to be very important. I'm going to also say, I'll give you. So I'll give you your last chance, whatever you want to say it, and then we'll conclude with the rest. Thank you.
Yeah, so in connection with publication, NARIC will reach out to you. It doesn't have to be JALTA, but if you have a book that you want, a manuscript that you want to be published, you can reach out to NARIC, and they can also do peer review and publish. So if you have something you want to publish, you are working on, contact us, and we will also provide opportunity for your manuscript to be reviewed, peer reviewed, and be published in addition to JALTA.
Yeah. So again, what they're giving are their closing remarks. So I hope if you hadn't said anything, you are more than welcome to say it. So that, because that's your chance now. Are you ready, or should I go to?
I can say one little thing, and this has to do with NALRC. And I just wanted to say that our IPP mentioned before that we went through hard time. I will say it. I was looking for a better word, but ALTA went through some hard times, trying to stay afloat as an organization in the past couple of years. And the NALRC and its assistant director, Dr. Kazim Sanud, was instrumental in, providing a base from which ALTA can stand and do some things that it needed to do, like hold a virtual conference and keep working on putting the organization back together again. So we are thankful for this collaborative spirit, and we hope that moving forward, we can do more things together. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Now I'll give this to Dr. Zoli to talk about also NFMLTA, which is a critical component in our African languages.
Thank you. NFMLTA is what I mentioned as the National Federal Yeah, it's because I'm thinking about something else. Anyway, mine is to encourage all of us to make sure to tell our students to apply for funding for conferences and stuff like that, because that's where the big dish of money is. I'm usually, and now even my president is in, and this former president is in the boards, different boards of NFMLTA, and we watch people, we help adjudicate applications from everywhere else but ALTA. So ALTA, NEPAL, SELF, whoever, students, you are here, you need money to go to some conference, to work on your dissertation, apply to NFMLTA. They have the money, and it goes unused for 1 year after another because there are no applications from us. And even upcoming instructors, you just recently got your PhD and everything, you are an upcoming researcher. Apply, because there are these funds in there, and we can't be in committees and then nothing is happening for us. There must be something for African language pedagogy. I think that's all. I'll hold back the other thing.
I'm not sure what my concluding remarks are. I mean, I think just to, so everyone knows, I mean, one of the what I see as my role is really to facilitate partnerships and to facilitate, outreach to communities and to other constituencies that, are like-minded and that are working on the same issues that we're working on. So I welcome, collaboration with any and all of you, and to learn a little bit more about your organizations or what it is that you're doing that maybe would be something that we'd be interested in partnering with you on. So thank you.
Everybody, I'm sure you can agree that this has been very productive. We have learned a lot. Some of this we know perhaps, but having these minds together to share what they're doing, you're going to be able to know where to go if you have an issue that, about writing, as they told you, about being a member of an association, and about being a good collaborator. So this is where we will conclude. I want again to thank, from a very left, Professor.
So someone asked me outside there, how can they become ALTA members? So I think they need to hear from the horse's mouth. Welcome.
Well, the horse's mouth says there is a website called the ALTA website. It's ALTA. What is it? ALTAglobalweb.org. So if you go there, you can just go to membership, and you can become a member by paying your membership fees. And by doing that, you get on the mailing list. So all these things that Zoli was talking about, announcements for NMFLTA grants, etc., will be distributed to the membership. So you will be getting this and other information through ALTA.
Somebody out there, when you said somebody out there, was talking about their deep interest and expertise in integrating technology in pedagogy. And I want to say to you, even if you are from Africa, ALTA is coming. She said it. Now I can say it. Here, it will be hosted here. Come and show us what you have. I used to present a lot about technology because my training is in that. But when was that? 100 years ago. Now we have the Filippos. We have the Fortunata. Is that your name? Yes. Come and present at ALTA. We are inviting you.
Excellent. This is what it is. So there are resource centers. I think that's the key word there to capture. Resource center. If you want to know anything about languages, let's talk to Professor Aluya Omar. If you want to know anything about just topical issues about African studies, let's talk to Dr. Krista Johnson. Again, from my left was Professor Aluya Omar, professor at Indiana University. On my immediate left, Dr. Shimarian from Columbia University. And on my right, immediate right, Madame Daktari Zoli from Boston University. And of course, at the very far end, Director of African Language, Director of African Studies Center at Howard, Dr. Krista Jones. We want to thank you again. Please give them the best clap you've done.
All right, guys. By the way, did you realize that these important organizations, associations, units which are helping African languages are all run by ladies? Do you guys realize that? Can you clap for that as well? So, yeah, that's really something great here. Yes.
So we're gonna reach out to you for review of the textbooks to get your comments from the instructors and from the students. So you look out for emails that you'll be getting for review requests.
Beautiful. So we're moving to something else, but before we even go there, I want to let you guys know that we have a Chaukidu t-shirts like the one that Professor Aluya Omar is wearing right now. So yes, so you can get one. But by the way, the other time when we had a conference in Kampala, Professor Aluya Omar and I were walking.
Oh, did I take
at the airport and we hear someone coming and say, hey, sikilizeni, hey, I just realized you guys are Swahili speakers because I saw your t-shirts. You know, we don't have as many people in Uganda who are doing that. So you need to get a t-shirt for yourself there or for someone you love. It says Kiswahili Kiene. Yes. Kiswahili Kiene Duniani. So please get a t-shirt out there. We have Happiness and her team out there, please. All right, so guys, I know people are tired, but that's what conferences are. We get a lot, we learn a lot, but also we become exhausted, and this happens. But we have 2 more sessions, which are gonna be more relaxing a little bit, because we're gonna have time to relax and discuss in our little groups. So we're going to have parallel sessions, and let me give this information in Swahili because I can speak better in Swahili than English. Kwa hivyo tuna majopo, tuna vikao sambamba ambavyo vinaenda kufanyika sasa hivi. Vikao hivi vitakuwa viwili. Kikao cha kwanza kitafanyika kwa dakika 75 na kikao cha pili kitafanyika kwa dakika 75. Tunachohitaji ni kwamba tuende moja kwa moja kwenye vile vyumba ambavyo vimepangwa. Tukienda haraka, watu wanapata nafasi ya kuwasilisha haraka, tunatawanyika. Na kitu kingine ambacho nitaomba ni kwamba tuna wenzetu ambao wamesafiri kutoka mbali kwa ajili ya kuja kuwasilisha makala zao kwenye vikao hivyo. Kwa hivyo unaposimama mahali njiani, unamnyima mtu nafasi ya kuwasilisha kile ambacho alikuwa amepanga kuwasilisha. Kwa hivyo tafadhali sana, najua tumeanza kuchoka, ni jioni, lakini tuendeeni tupate majopo hayo, tutapumzika kidogo, na kesho, ratiba ya kesho ni nzuri zaidi, haitakuwa na mambo mengi sana na mikiki mingi sana. Kwa hivyo tafadhali sana tuelekee kule. Profesa Mwaka, tafadhali njoo hapa utupatie maelekezo zaidi, lakini tutakuwa ni Stokes Library. Ndio. Kwa hivyo angalia ratiba yako, angalia ikisiri ambayo unataka kuiendea itakuwa kwenye chumba gani, lakini wote tunaelekea Stokes Library. Profesa Mwaka hapa atatuelekeza kwamba Stokes Library kwa upande gani.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to use English just because I want to. Okay, we are finishing our plenary sessions, and as I begin to talk, please, Alfonsina, begin to walking towards the podium. We are going to go to the Louis Stokes Library. It will take us about 7 minutes. Victoria, am I correct on that? Yeah, okay. Carly is going to lead us. If you're a chair of a session this evening, I'd like for you, Carly and Victoria, can you stand up so that people can see you? Yeah, those are our students. They're going to be leading you if you're a chair, but also since we're all going there, I want them to be able to, guide you so that we can get there. We're beginning a little late, so we're going to go to the 2nd floor. That's where our sessions are going to be. We will find our rooms there. We'll then have our chairs take control of everything because we need to begin. These are our parallel sessions. But before we all leave, here is one of our guests from East Africa. She'll introduce herself within 1 minute and tell us something that she wants to share. Thank you.
Asante. Na mimi basi nitatumia Kiswahili kwa sababu nataka kutumia Kiswahili. Wakubwa zangu shikamooni. Naonekana wengi ni wadogo zangu. Wakubwa zangu shikamooni. Tunaolingana, habari. Asante. Jina langu ni Alfonsina Ambrose Layo kutoka Chuo Kikuu cha Dar es Salaam nchini Tanzania. Niko hapa kwa jambo moja. Watu wengi walikuwa wameniuliza kwa nini umevaa crown au taji la kimalkia ama la kifalme, alafu kwa nini umevaa bendera ya Tanzania, kwa nini umevaa hivyo unavyoonekana kati leo si usiku wa Mswahili. Lakini hata kama ni usiku wa Mswahili, kwa nini umevaa crown? Natumia tu dakika chache kueleza. Nimevaa haya mavazi yanavyoonekana hivi kwa sababu leo ni siku ya ufunguzi rasmi wa kongamano la 7 la kimataifa la Chaukidu. Haya mavazi yanawakilisha Afrika huku. Lakini nikatamani kuvaa bendera zote lakini nikashindwa. Hii bendera inawakilisha nchi ya Tanzania, lakini mavazi ni Afrika pamoja na utamaduni huu, kwa sababu Kenya unapatikana na nchi nyingine unaweza kupatikana utamaduni wa Kimasai. Hii crown inamaanisha ni UNESCO ambao wameipa Kiswahili hadhi ya kimataifa. Kwa hiyo kwa nini nimeivaa crown kichwani? Kwa sababu inavaliwa kichwani, lakini ni heshima kubwa tuliopewa ambao pengine hatukuweza kuwaza kwamba ingewahi kufika siku moja mapema au ni miaka 10 ijayo. Kwa maana hiyo, huyu ni Mtanzania lakini ni amevaa Uafrika ndani yake, na wakilisha Afrika na wakilisha Afrika Mashariki, na hii ni UNESCO, inaonyesha heshima ya kimataifa iliyopewa lugha ya Kiswahili. Ni hivyo tu, asanteni.
Nashukuru sana. Naomba sasa tuelekee kwenye vyumba vile ili tukamalizie mawasilisho ya siku ya leo. Asanteni sana. Na baada ya hapo, kwa sababu hatakuwa nafasi ya kutangaza kwa pamoja tena, kesho asubuhi shughuli yetu inaanza saa 3 kamili. Angalieni kwenye ratiba, mtaona venue pale itakuwa wapi. Karibuni sana, tuendelee na kongamano letu.
Kuna bendia. Nyingi lakini.